My 28M girlfriend 26F had male friend she had time with over for dinner at her house. Hi, I have been going out with my girlfriend for 8 months now and everything has been great. She tells me she loves me and I have never had a reason not to trust her as we are both very open and honest about things. When we first started dating she told me about a male friend from her friend group and that she had slept with him. He cheated on his girlfriend at the time with my current girlfriend. She told me this as we were discussing our past etc. and being honest with each other. Anyway, my girlfriend sells nutritional products and the male friend was interested, so she had told me that they were going to meet up at McDonald's to hang out and see if he would be interested in signing up to her nutrition business. Last night I went over to my girlfriend's house and I noticed 2 empty pizza boxes sitting on the worktop. I asked where they were from and she said oh that was from last night. I then confronted her and mentioned that she was supposed to just meet in a public place, i.e. McDonald's. So how did it turn out that he then came over to your house for pizza? She was also very quiet via text the night she met him and she usually posts a story to her Instagram each night and again that never happened. I found it odd. She apologized and said she thought she told me the plans changed and that he would be at her house, and that I either trust her or I don't. It all caused a bit of an argument as I wasn't quite happy knowing this guy previously cheated on his girlfriend with her and they had time and now he was at her house one-on-one without my knowledge. I have no problem with her having any guy friends but in my eyes a boundary was crossed inviting him to your home when you had time with said friend before. Story 2. I'm 29M getting frozen out of our group by my close friend's cheating ex. So I have a close group of friends from college. We were all in frat sororities that were close and have known each other for years. We've all kept up with each other in the time since we graduated. A few years ago, my close friend, let's call him Tony, married another friend of ours, let's call her Mary. I was the best man and a few of our other friends were groomsmen. Their relationship ended a couple years later with her cheating on him while he was traveling for work. He loved her and was a complete wreck, but came through it and seems like they're both doing okay. She's now engaged to the guy she cheated on him with, who she apparently dated when she was in high school. Tony asked all of his friends to just leave it alone and not say anything bad about Mary, and we've all done that per his wishes. Problem is now we're all getting dragged into this and it sucks. We used to plan a big get-together every year in early December, kind of a friend's Christmas. We haven't done it since COVID, but it was put together again this year. Problem is none of us that are close friends with Tony got invited. Obviously Mary had something to do with it. We were mostly just letting it go, but the get-together was tonight and we've just been berated all day. Calls from friends asking where we are, texts asking why we didn't come. I just got a FaceTime from a group of people I'm very close to berating me about missing dinner and asking if I could come meet them after at least. It seems like they were told that we all did not want to come. I'm trying to be nice about it and not throw anyone under the bus, but honestly I feel like trash right now. I miss my friends, I haven't seen most of them since 2019 and they're literally mad at me for not being somewhere that I didn't get invited to. The rest of us that were groomsmen or close with Tony are getting the same treatment. I'm really tempted to just read them all the riot act and say I would be there right now buying you all drinks and singing along if I had actually been invited. Welcome. Tony doesn't want any more drama though, but every time I hear from someone else it just makes me feel 10x worse. Someone convince me to stay the course or tell me if I'm being too nice here and should just throw Mary under the bus. Story 3. I feel like girlfriend doesn't know she is cheating on me. I need some help on this. My long-distance girlfriend is pretty loving and sweet and in general a very nice-hearted person. I just found chats on her phone. I saw her in the chat yesterday. She turned down the phone pretty quick and changed the topic. That's why I looked today, which are pretty alarming to me. In short, it's a dude who is 90% saying 3, putting hints etc. wanting more than being friends knowing she got a boyfriend. Now what hurts me, my girlfriend seems to respond accordingly, enthusiastic about them having fun and so on. She didn't say anything that would indicate likings beyond friends or feelings though, but things like my BF wants to join, I hope that's okay for you, really hurt. Apparently she also sent some pics of here early on. She saved them from Snapchat and after me asking 4 times she just said she wants some good pictures of herself. Okay. He also sent pics, she didn't compliment. At least not in text. She also arranged one-to-one calls, texting him instead of me feels like it, haven't checked if I wasn't busy at that time. Now this might sound like a friendship, and I'm sure my girl is seeing this as such. I don't want to ruin her friendship because she lost friends in the past and can't easily make new friends. But the part that she is so enthusiastic a bit more than with me lately makes me feel very uncomfortable. Am I being too overdramatic? I will definitely speak with her about this, once she wakes up next to me. Appreciate your inputs. Story 4, I am 30, suspect my F27 girlfriend may be having an affair at work, but don't know how to address it without her getting mad. On top of that, I'm worried I might be gay. So for context, our S-time life has been very up and down. For her part, she says she's satisfied and claims to orgasm regularly. I've asked if she's faked them and she says she doesn't fake orgasms because if she were to, then the person would keep doing the wrong thing. It took ages and ages for me to be able to get off with her, and for the most part, I faked orgasms. I had some medical stuff, and once that was resolved I found things easier. Well, now I'm just confused and frustrated and unsure of what to do next. I've identified as bis-timul for the past few years, however, this was following a very large PRN habit. I've been reading a lot about PRN-induced homos-timul OCD. Basically, I'm at a point in my life where I wonder whether I'm gay or bi, or straight. I always thought I was only into women, but lately, I find I have to imagine doing things with men. I feel incredibly guilty doing this. I've stopped being able to see them at all during S-time and only can when by myself. This has caused a huge rift in my relationship, and I'm worried maybe it's causing my girlfriend to cheat. My girlfriend used to wear nice underwear and take care of her appearance before seeing me. I've continued, if not upped my style and self-care since being with my partner, and always try to make an effort to smell nice and be well groomed even if it's just an after-work nap. Lately, I find my girlfriend has been wearing all her nice underwear to work, wearing perfume to work to the point I've made jokes about it. She's been picking up extra shifts and taking a lot longer than usual to respond during night shifts. I have found we're having S-time more than normal, but I've read that can also be a sign of cheating, and it isn't a good thing because when I can't see M she gets mad. I feel like she gets mad at me a lot when I try to tell her certain things. I tried to have an open talk about my feelings about my S-timuality and my confusion and dissatisfaction with her yesterday, and she told me coming is the main point of S-time, and that was the one thing I felt was the least problematic considering I'm bringing up possibly being gay and not bi. I know this is a lot, so I appreciate anyone reading this. I want to go to a S-time therapist. I just find my girlfriend's frustration with me off-putting, and it makes me shut down, so I don't want to open up or feel she'll get upset. We've had struggles with my trust, as every woman I've dated prior was both unaccepting of my bis-timuality and also have cheated on me, so I feel like it's taken ages to drop my guard with her, but now I'm worried I've made a mistake by opening up to her. Story 5, my mum is the other woman. I'm 14F, my mum is 50F. I was born after the death of my half-brother who died in 2004. I was born 4 years later, and my mum and dad never dated. They weren't a match romantically, but my mum just really wanted a new kid. Anyways, my mum has had boyfriends, of course. And I'm totally fine with that. Since my birth till now it has been 4 different guys. They were all nice but eventually not a match. Recently my mum met a man on a business meeting. They hit it off, but after they met up once my mum found out he was married with another woman and has 2 kids of around my age. My mum told him to go back to his wife and to not return. He did return, and this time she did not turn him down. They have been secretly dating for 2 months now, and they're really happy every time they see each other. He has met me and we've just been making small talk and stuff. He's a nice guy, but I don't like that he's cheating. Emo, he should just tell his wife if he truly loves my mum. What do I do, because this is very frustrating for me to watch. Story 6, how do you handle living in the same house? Just found out a few days ago that my partner of 5 years cheated on me. I plan on posting the whole story once I get back home. My partner and I had plans to go on vacation this weekend, but I found out about the affair the night before we were supposed to leave and told her to stay home because I didn't want to be near her. The problem is I don't want to go home at all. The affair did not happen in our house, but the guy was a friend of my girlfriend and has been to our house several times. We cooked dinner for him, watched movies with him. He even spent the night twice in the spare bedroom. God, this is so awful to think about. So even though the actual sexual part of the affair didn't happen in our house, the memory of him being there in every room and knowing that they were both lying to me is killing me. For what it's worth, I told her that our relationship is over. I have no plans on trying to reconcile. Told her she has to move out. We're renting, so I can always just rent another place. But it's so expensive to move, and I really love the house and location. And we still have 3 months left on the lease. Does anyone have any advice on how to handle this? Is there any way to make the house a safe place again? Redditor's reactions. Story 7 after. Redditor 1, taking a small hit to your credit is much easier to fix than your mental health. Talk with your landlord and explain the situation. You will have to pay something, but I would break the lease. Redditor follow up. This. Depending on the landlord and or market where you are at, they may just let you out of the lease. Redditor 2. With a lease you might be stuck for a few months unless he will let one of you off the lease. That will likely require her agreement. Personally, I would do everything in my power to get away from her. Lock on the bedroom door if you don't already have one. Camera in your space. The sooner you go full NC, the sooner you will heal. If leaving is not an option, treat her as less than a roommate. Spend as much time outside of the house as possible. Gym membership, libraries, hobbies, coffee shops or bars. Just come home to sleep, shower, and change. There's a decent chance she'll have him over to twist the knife. In that case, cut your losses and leave.
Redditor 3. When my wife had her first affair, and somehow I demanded we move out of the house because he had been over there many times.
Threw out the futon. You can imagine why. There were just too many memories and I didn't want the guy to know where we lived. Didn't matter anyways. She started the affair up again a couple of years later. Story 7. I am 24, caught my girlfriend F21 lying about her and her ex's relationship. So basically my girlfriend and I have been official for a month but seeing each other for 2. This story starts right when we became official. We decided to get STD tests before becoming sexually actively, and when we did that, she came back with gonorrhea. Naturally, I was shocked, but that is when she told me she slept with her ex who cheated on her 2 months before we met one another. That was a bit of a concern considering they broke up over a year ago and 2 months is kind of recent, but I decided to stay and just have her get the STD resolved. I tested negative and am still negative. Anyways, she told me before that ever since they broke up, they had a high and by relationship. But after she got this STD, I clearly pushed back on that and said that was not the truth. She said she was sorry and we continued from there. Fast forward to today, we were together and I realized I never got her ex's name. She said his name was Anthony, and I realized that Anthony is the same name of a friend who bought her food at 9 p.m. one night while we were in a relationship. I asked if this was the same Anthony and she said yes. Also the same Anthony she shares a Hulu account with. I was really uncomfortable because she told me her relationship was high and by with him, they were civil, etc. But then she slept with him right before we were together and he brings her food late at night sometimes. Apparently she also emotionally vented to him before meeting me. I now don't know how to proceed. I feel I love her, but this is a lot for me. I also told her this and that I was considering leaving, and she started breaking down and crying. She also said she doesn't want to be alive but sincerely apologized right after for that because she said it was manipulative of her to say that. She said she will block him or any other ex she has as well. What should I do? Redditor's reaction. Story 8 after. Redditor 1, she's obviously not over him. Only way to find out is to tell her you want her to block him, and contact with exes are a deal breaker boundary for you. You'll have your answer real quick. Redditor 2, he brings her food late at night sometimes. Is that what the kids are calling it these days? Dang it, I had just learned what Netflix and chill meant. Redditor 3, that's some shady poop. Good ol' Anthony sure does seem to be a regular part of her life. Even telling her further communication with Anthony is a deal-breaking boundary, just may force her into being more secretive. Not sure I would be able to trust her. Lies do not build a good foundation. Redditor follow up, 100% agree with this. Op, time to move on from her before she sleeps with Anthony and brings you an STI. Story 8, my 25FX25M accidentally impregnated his coworker, how to deal. This is a very long story so I will try to keep it as short as possible. My ex Justin and I have been off and on for 7 years, meeting each other when we were just 18 years old. We were inseparable, he was my best friend. Justin was very immature in nature, he lacked real-world knowledge on a lot of things and tended to live in the views of his anime heroes. What attracted me to him was how he was the complete opposite of me. I was too serious and he was carefree. He was also naive when it came to females. I was in my second year of college and he was getting ready for his first. I tried to tell him that when he goes to college, the women he will meet are not like me. Meaning, I wasn't out to play with him like college girls would be, and most times college girls are not looking for anything serious and will not consider his feelings for the most part. He also was a little awkward and was growing into his looks at the time, so a year later when he goes to college, he realizes how good he actually looks to people and his confidence skyrocketed. He texted me 2 weeks into his schooling letting me know that he has already had time with 6 different females. I was disappointed but not surprised given this was his first taste of life on his own and I know how college is. So I told him I was upset but he should just enjoy himself while he's in school and to not worry about me. He tells me that when he gets out of college, he'd want to make things official with me after all the distractions are out the way. I wasn't waiting for that, so as much as it hurt I moved on to someone else. Except the guy I moved on to turned out to be really toxic and abusive. I was still in college, so he would come pick me up and bring me down to his place on the weekends. At some point, my attraction to him wore off due to his abusive nature and I would be pressured into time by this guy. And whenever he got angry, he would low blow me with the most hurtful things to say. Every time I tried to leave, he would cause a scene where the police would end up being involved. We were physically abusive to each other at times as well. I never wanted to have time with him anymore when things got really bad, but whenever he wanted it he would pressure me and I would just let it happen to avoid him getting mad. Over the course of Justin being in college, it only got worse from there. He turned into a certified man after a girl he took interest in basically used him and left him. He realized how cold girls can actually be, so to combat that he turned cold himself. He wasn't the Justin I used to know anymore. He was dogging females left and right, including me whenever he came home for the summer. He still had the same personality I fell in love with, but he would lie about what he was doing with other girls now. He would continually get Al's time from a bis time ul girl whenever I wasn't available for him. And I would forgive him every time because he would always beat himself up about it, saying he doesn't love her and that he always stepped out because he felt like he didn't deserve me. Come to find out, this was the start of a vicious cycle that would last 7 years. Whenever he slipped up and did something to hurt me, he would take it very personal and punish himself by ghosting me because he felt like he didn't deserve to be in my life. As he's ghosting me, he tries to fill the void with my absence with another girl. Then he would come clean to me, I would go off, cut him off, we wouldn't speak for months, then he'd come back saying he's learned his lesson. And I would be dumb enough to forgive him. Every time. Fast forwarding to last year, I finally got out of my abusive relationship with my ex after 4 years. Justin and I seemed to not have another cycle in a very long time. Then I find out that the college girl that hurt him so bad, moved closer to the area where we live. She became his escape whenever he didn't feel worthy of me, whenever he'd start thinking of how he betrayed me in the past. He also mentioned that he liked being around her because she lived on her own and it felt good to leave his house sometimes because I would always come to him. I lived with my parents, he lived with his cool uncle. He admired her self-care antics, how she would do puzzles, make vision boards, and read books. I found her IG page and constantly looked at it to see if she'd say anything about Justin, and she would make reels for those hobbies. She was also very spiritual, which is something we both are. She just read more books on it, so he looked up to her like she was his mentor. Then he slipped up again and had time with her. And he ghosted me, starting another cycle. When he came back weeks later, telling me that they are just friends and he could never see his life with her the way he sees with me, and that he did what he did with her to get back at her for betraying him in college. I was mad for a long time, and of course the trust is shot at this point. He continued to go over her house and bond with her more spiritually and would even spend the night. He would tell me he didn't sleep with her but on her couch because he snores. This was the truth. That didn't matter to me though. Because why are you over her house after you just came back wanting me to forgive you? Then he also started adopting her hobbies. Everything this girl did, he also started to do too. Mind you, he doesn't know that I know about the things she likes to do because I secretly watch her IG stories. Puzzles showed up in the house, he was buying books and even texted me asking me if he should make a vision board 30 minutes after she posted a reel for it. At this point, yes, I still loved him. But I was talking to other guys. There was one guy that I was falling for, Steve, but nobody was able to really grab my attention away from Justin, so he was still the only guy I was intimate with due to him still being the only guy I was this close to. Then enters his co-worker. With all the stuff happening with his old college flame, he takes interest in his co-worker, which he also disguises to me as his friend. I found out that he was raw dogging me, his college girl and his co-worker. There was even an STD scare. Unfortunately, it took this for me to say I was done with him in the romantic sense. He risked my health and betrayed me to this caliber multiple times. That was the icing on the cake. I told Justin I am no longer going to be having time with him, and that I thought that us trying to be something was a waste of time and that we were better off as cordial distant friends. Yes, that should have been enough for me to cut him off completely, but I still considered him my best friend. Despite the time, When we were just chilling and being friendly, it was just fine. And I thought if we could just keep it at that, no cycles would have to come into play and no one has to get hurt. I accepted that he was just a man and that we should just work on being just friends considering how long we've known each other. So I started taking Steve more seriously to the point where I was intimate with him now instead of Justin. This hurt Justin, but he told me he understood given everything he's done to me. He wanted to work on our friendship as well, but he made it clear that he still loves me and that he just wants to be the man that I need. 6 months go by and Justin says he stopped messing around with both of his other girls because he's trying to do better by me. But I'm still getting closer to Steve because I no longer trust him. So Justin starts up a new twist to the cycle. Due to his jealousy and not wanting to think about me and Steve, he would go back to having time with his college flame and his co-worker. Then whenever we would hang out, he'd try to be time with me, and I would go off on him basically saying, why are you trying to do this when you have 2 girls already that you found more important than me that you're time with, and to stop. Then he'd tell me that it's hard to work to get back my trust when I'm faithfully having time and bonding with someone else, and that to avoid feeling sad about me, he fills the void with his girls. That cycle has been going on until about 4 days ago now. Steve has been my current boyfriend now for a year and some months. 4 days ago, Justin tells me the coworker is pregnant after he told me he had time with her one last time before he was going to bunker down and actually work on himself and getting me back. And he's beating himself up because he regrets not fighting for me harder and he regrets his sense of communication. He tells me that if he would have just communicated with me, he wouldn't have felt the need to fill a void with me, and that he will always regret that he had to mess up this bad in order to learn his lesson. When he told me she was pregnant, he didn't want to tell me, but since we are so close he just needed someone he could confide in, and I was the only one. He was confident that she was going to get an abortion and that this was definitely his wake-up call to do better once the situation is done. But she's not. She wants to keep it. Now he's about to be a dad. The last thing he said to me was, "At this point I desire no bad blood between us. I have until July to prepare for a new life. And you have your life to live. Just good vibes to our futures." I'll leave it at that. Now, I can never talk to him again. I honestly do not know how to feel. It's like at this point, I was never going to leave my current boyfriend for him because the trust is gone and I genuinely love Steve. Steve is amazing. He wants to marry me and we are planning on moving out next year. We even talked about trying for kids within the next 2-3 years. But I guess I'm just so disappointed that after being so close for so many years, Justin couldn't get it together, not even for me. I know love is not supposed to be this way. It should never take 7 years for someone to realize you matter more than temporary pleasure. Even knowing this, I can't stop feeling so betrayed. We were inseparable even with all the BS that happened. And it hurts with us being this close. It's like he did everything in his power to get me out of his life. Like, why did he have to mess up so bad to the point where I have to force him out of my life? There's no way I can talk to him again after this. I resent him so much for doing this to our friendship relationship. I guess with this post, I'm venting but also seeking some advice on how I can move past this. I have so much going on for myself. I have a great relationship with Steve. I'm going to esthetician school. I'm moving out next year. I'm going on vacation with Steve in a couple months, etc. I know my life is headed in a great direction and I know Justin has to deal with his consequences and that's he's not happy. I'm trying to tell myself this is exactly his karma for F-king me over the way he did. Has anyone ever been in a situation like this?